This print-on-demand seller was a full-time physical therapist assistant who had a dream of starting her own print-on-demand business in early 2023 and eventually being able to even quit her full-time job. Her first 6 to 9 months, she made little to no money, but with a lot of hard work and determination, she was able to have some huge months like $30,000 in revenue in the month of July, $36,000 in the month of November, and even $26,000 in the month of December. And all of this without having to actually print or ship any items herself. And that was with a process called print on demand. Print on demand is a great process where you actually create designs on your computer or your phone and you post them for sale on a platform like Etsy. But when you actually receive an order for an item, that's when your print company like Printify actually prints and ships those items for you, so you don't actually have to worry about any of the shipping, the inventory, or the packaging of the items. You just have to make great new designs and worry about the customer service. And I will link a free mini course down below on how to get started and post your very first print-on-demand item for sale, even if you know nothing. And now all of her stats have been vetted and verified by myself. For privacy reasons, we won't actually be sharing her Etsy shop today, but I hope you get so much inspiration from her story, and let's go ahead and say hello. Hello, and thank you so much for joining me. I'm so excited to have this Q4 update. I know we haven't talked since August, so really excited to hear how your business has grown since the last time I interviewed you.
Yeah, I'm super excited. It definitely grew a lot since last year, and just showing that you put in the hard work, it definitely pays off.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think you have some super exciting news that you have actually been able to quit your job, I hear. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your decision to actually quit your job and go full time with print on demand?
Yeah, I actually just put in my 2 weeks 2 weeks ago. So this is my first full week working for myself, which is amazing to say. Like, I can tell people, I own my own business. I work for myself. Like, it's awesome. um, yeah, so my goal was to basically make the same, if not more, than what I was making at my 9 to 5. And I hit that last year after Q4, like the total year. And so this January, I was like, even if it's a little slow, I was able to save and stuff, and it's showing promise. I was like, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to quit. This is awesome. So yeah, it's been great.
Congratulations. That's absolutely huge. And I will link your interview that we did in August down below for anyone who wanted to see kind of the journey from when she got started to August. And then now we're going to kind of talk like post that interview update. So let's talk a little bit about what sales have looked like since last time we interviewed you and how Q4 went. Do you want to walk us through kind of what your sales have looked like since your interview with us in August?
It's interesting because in October, well, I talked about it in my last interview with you. I'm really in the teacher niche, and so October actually was slower than July for me, which was crazy. But I was like, you know what? It's okay. Like, keep pushing. I actually watched a video that Shauna came out with, and she was saying that a lot of people were feeling the same way. You think that Q4 is going to be this like huge thing, like starting October, and you're just going to make like so much money. But I was able to still make a lot more than last year, which was cool. And then it just got more and more each month. So I think in October, I made 15,000 revenue, which was amazing. Because if we go back to the last interview, that's what I made in, I think, December or something, like one of the biggest months of the year. So to have that in October was a big win. And then in November, it really jumped to 35,000 revenue, I was so excited. And then December, I think it was like 27. I think I told you 27, 26, something like that. So still just like amazing Q4. Yeah, it was a lot of work, but totally worth it. And yeah, here I am, quit my job. Like, so cool.
It sounds like you had an awesome Q4. So looking at what you just said, 15,000 in October, 35K in November, 26K in December, that's about $76,000 in revenue in just 3 months. And about how much profit did you actually get to keep out of that 76,000?
30% profit, and then probably a little bit less because I was running ads. So between like 5 and 10% of that went towards ads, but it was totally worth it because I was getting a lot of sales from the ads. So it's kind of like you have to spend money to make money.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. So sounds like then you probably made at least about $15,000 in profit in those 3 months. So take home before taxes,
Yeah,
5K a month on
yeah,
average. Q4
yeah.
is not bad at all.
Yeah, and that was more than what I was making per month at my 9 to 5. So it was just crazy to think I've only been doing this for a year and about 9 months. Like almost, I'm coming up almost on 2 years. And the fact that I can basically replace my income for a career that I went to school for, got a degree in, like got licensed and everything. I was a physical therapist assistant. So it's just crazy to think like I didn't spend as much time on this and I'm making like the same, if not more, at this point, which is so cool. It's very promising.
Yeah, that's amazing. And now that you have this full-time amount of time to put into it, I'm really excited to see what your 2025 ends up looking like when you're not just doing this part-time on the side. I think that is going to be really, really powerful. And so let's kind of share some tips on if somebody's watching this and they're just getting started or they're just starting to get some sales. And if they want to be able to quit their job and do print on demand full-time as well, what that really looked like, what went into it, what got you to that point. So you said you've been doing this about a year and 9 months. I know you started about like March, April-ish of 2023.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, that's like a really similar time frame to how long I was doing print on demand when I quit my job, and how long Shauna was doing print on demand when she was able to quit her job. So it's like seems like between a year and a half and 2 years, it seems like is when most people are like, okay, I'm rounding out my second year. I understand how this works. I've kind of built up my business, and now I'm able to quit. Why don't you tell me a little bit about how much work went into it in that time? Like, how many listings have you made about in the year and 9 months?
Yeah, I made probably close to 2,000 listings in that amount of time. And that was like some expired and everything, or like I deactivated some. But yeah, I was definitely putting in a lot of work even when I was working like full time in the beginning. I think I mentioned it in our last interview. I would go to my 9 to 5. I'd had like a 45-minute drive to and from work, get home in the evenings, and spend probably like 4 or 5 hours like every night just making new listings, learning new stuff. I would say anyone who wants to be able to quit their job in like about the same amount of time is follow someone who has already done it, which is why I followed you, why I followed Shauna. I was like, what are they doing? Watch all their videos and do the same. And it really is just putting in the work. Like anyone can do this. It's definitely repeatable.
Yeah, it's not like you had your own business before this or you had ever designed t-shirts before this, right? You started absolutely from zero as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it took you a little while to kind of really get your shop off the ground. You weren't like an overnight success right when you got started. Just kind of like recap the beginning of your journey. How long was it before you actually made like a pretty decent profit in your business in a month?
So I started around March of 2023. I wasn't making like any sales the first few months, maybe here or there, friends and family. Took your course in July and actually put in the work and like the principles that I needed to do to get successful. And I would say a few months after that, I started making profit. I wasn't like losing money or putting, what did she say? Pennies per hour. I said it in my last interview. But yeah, it took, I'd say, at least six to 9 months before I really started seeing some money come in.
That's huge. It took 6 to 9 months to really get it going, and then a year of like really making profit to feel
Mm-hmm.
comfortable quitting your job. So I think that gives a pretty good realistic expectations. It's like this might look like you have to make 100 listings every single month for a year and
Mm-hmm.
9 months to really make a consistent income. And I think that's fair. Most businesses you can't, make overnight and then be able to quit your job, right? So you should be super proud of yourself for putting in that work for that amount of time because that is just spectacular what you've been able to do in that time.
Thank you. Yeah, it really is just consistency and just learning something new every day and getting a little bit better every day. I forget if it's from a book or something that you were talking about, but it's like if you just get 1% better at what you're doing every day, imagine where you'd be at in a year, 2 years, 3 years. Like a lot of people think that people are just successful overnight, and that's just not the truth of it. You have to put in the work, you have to make mistakes. My first like 100, probably more than 100 listings were just absolutely terrible. Like, I didn't know anything that was trending. I was just like you said, throwing spaghetti at the wall. And that was like most people that like you interview, or like most videos that I watch. That's totally normal. And I feel like people give up too soon. Like, if you just keep going and just have that mentality, you can do it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And yeah, the 1%, I got that from the Atomic Habits book by James Clear.
Mm-hmm.
And it definitely makes a really big difference if you just look forward to improving a little bit every single day. I could not agree more. There are so many little tasks you can work on with your print on demand business. But like you said, the only ones that make you money are researching new designs and posting those new designs in your store. Like, there's so many little things you can do that don't actually move the needle and make you money in your
Mm-hmm.
business. What are some of the other strategies that you think have really made the difference between like your first 6 to 9 months where you weren't really making a lot of sales to like now that you're really implementing in your business?
I would say not that everybody has to invest in a course, but I 100% feel like that's what changed my business is taking your course. And I highly recommend Cassie's course, obviously recommend her course, but that really helped keep me accountable, because I feel like this is what we're talking about. Like, a lot of people have a hard time keeping themselves accountable for things, but having a community and a course to like step you through and guide you through and have people to talk to keep you motivated is what really kept me going and doing all of the right things. We could go down like a list of like exact things that help with like print on demand. I think we kind of talked about it in the last video, but researching the newest trends, posting in advance, having like a niche calendar, like setting actual intentional goals and following it. And then obviously we talked about like personalized listings and group listings. Those can have like a lot more money in them. But yeah, there's just so many strategies that I could go over. But yeah, sticking to the strategies and actually having a plan.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Like buying a course, following someone who's done it before you. Like, obviously, you don't have to buy a course to be successful. If you're really good at self-managing and self-learning, like there's so much free stuff on YouTube, but I think seeing things kind of step by step, one person exactly how they do it can sometimes be helpful, because I think there's a million ways to be successful on Etsy. There's not just one, but you do have to pick a lane, pick a direction. And so why don't you tell me a little bit about what your listing strategy has looked like? Because I know in the beginning, when people first start listing, they kind of just like list everything, kind of throw all the spaghetti at the wall and see what works. But then as you start getting more successful with print on demand, you start focusing on the spaghettis that stick to the hardest, and you make more of that and make more of that and make more of that. How has that looked in your business? Have you kind of chosen specific niches that you focus on now more than others, or are you kind of still trying lots of niches?
Oh yeah, I definitely have probably like top 3 to 5 major niches that I stay in. And I feel like it's hard in the beginning because you don't know what's going to work for you. So you kind of do have to, I guess, pick based on market research and based on like maybe getting someone's niche calendar and finding like what is already working, and then just pick maybe some of the niches that you're interested in and then see what sticks for you. But yeah, once you start venturing out in a bunch of niches, then you can kind of narrow it down, like what's working, and then you double down on that, which is what I've done is, yeah, staying in those niches, making the new trends as they come out in those niches. And that's helped carry it through, which is awesome.
Yeah, yeah. And I think doubling down on what works is a really important skill to learn, because getting one bestseller in a niche is great, but they don't live forever. No
Mm-hmm.
listing sells forever on Etsy. There's always new trends, new updates. So, what does doubling down in a niche really mean to you? Like, when you say you found 3 to 5 niches that sell really well for you, what does that look like? Are you looking for the next trend and then always posting in those 3 to 5 niches the new trend that you find? Or what are some of the ways that you've kind of doubled down and added value?
I am constantly looking for the newest trends, and then whatever niches I'm already in, I just add those trends. I try to add a personalized aspect to it if I can, if it makes sense. And then I put it on multiple products. I try to stay within my like what I'm selling. So I sell mostly shirts and sweatshirts, but sometimes if I have like a bestseller, I'll put it like on another thing, like a mug or something like that. But yeah, doubling down in ways of like putting it on multiple products, things that are doing well, and then like adding the new trends and then just building on it, really.
Yeah, so it's kind of like you're just always thinking about those main niches over and over again, but then plus maybe some like holidays or other little niches here and there.
Yep. And some of the niches that I'm in are kind of broad. So like one of them is like professions. So I have like a list of professions that just always do well and they're just proven to sell on Etsy. And so every time a new holiday comes up, I make all of those professions with the holiday with a design style that's trending. And then that works.
That's amazing. So, yeah, I think that's one thing that a lot of people sometimes miss the mark on because I hear what you're saying and I want to kind of translate it is you take a best-selling design style. So let's
Mhm.
use one as an example. Obviously not sharing exactly what you do, but like let's say the retro wavy font style is really popular. Are you saying that you would mix that popular trending style with the holiday?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So say the retro wavy, I already know that like I have a list of like 30, 40 professions. I literally write out the profession in the wavy font. I make it say it's for St. Patrick's Day, put it in green, put some four-leaf clovers, and then just repeat the process. And that's what makes it easy. It's like batching. You talk about batching listings and being able to scale your designs too. So I'm in like bigger niches where it's like an umbrella of like professions. And then I can basically do the same design style on a bunch and then get more listings out. And it's all proven. So I
Yeah,
hope
I
that
think
makes sense.
Yeah, I think that makes perfect sense. I think when you first get started designing, your brain is like blank. You're staring at this blank screen on Canva and you're like, well, everything's been done before. How can I add value? Like, what can I make? And I think as you really start to expand your like mental library of what's available and what can sell and what is sold for you, it gets easier and easier. So just know if you're watching this that if it feels hard right now, like you're not alone. And so I think that really gives some good insights into like how to design for things is like taking trending design styles and adding them to like a little bit different. It's like changing it a little bit, changing the colors or adding it to a holiday can be a really great way to add value. And if you want to find trending design styles, if you join my course, I do share the trending design styles every single month in the trend report. But the way I find those is just by looking at hundreds of bestsellers every single month. So it really can be that simple. It's just going to like women's shirts for men, searching up a bunch of different searches and looking through bestsellers, like hundreds of pages. You don't have to look through hundreds, but if you look through 10 pages of bestsellers a day, you'll really start to like hone your vision of, okay, I've been seeing this a bunch over and over again in lots of different ways. That must be a trend. And you can start to kind of spot them yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's just crazy how new trends emerge like all the time. So we're talking about like, oh, everything's already been done. No, it hasn't. There's new trends coming out almost every week. If you're the first to that in a niche that doesn't have it yet, like you're going to be successful. And I feel like that's why Etsy is so cool is because you can be successful even if you're like, oh, I'm late to the game. Like people are like, oh, it's oversaturated or whatever. It's like, no, there's still new trending designs all the time. So like you're never too late. You just have to keep up with the market research really and then just apply it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so then let's talk a little bit more practically about what it looks like to make your listings. Can you tell me a little bit about your process? Are you listing your shirts and sweatshirts in the exact same colors every single time, or are you picking different colors every time you list?
So I pretty much have, well, I use Simply Listed, which I'm sure people know about because it's your channel, but that has saved me so much time. But I've basically taken the time to make templates of, like, I use all the same sweatshirt colors for just like general designs. I do like a light colored sweatshirts, a dark colored sweatshirts, and then I do like a combination. So if it's like a black and white design, you could put it on both. So I have those, and then I also do what it would make sense for the upcoming holiday. So like St. Patrick's Day, I'm going to put it on colors that would make sense with like those types of designs. And then I have templates for that. I just label it like whatever the holiday is. And then it's so easy because then you just plug it in and it uploads it for you. It's awesome. So having a system is going to be your best friend.
Yeah, I think some people feel like they have to pick different, colors for every single listing, but I think having a couple different options is fine. But I think the more you can kind of optimize your system so that when you make a design, you can list it as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I think that was a hard thing for me to understand in the beginning too, because I was like, man, like every design is so different. I feel like I have to change the colors for like every time. But I think for me at least, it's helped to have like light colored shirts or sweatshirts, dark colored shirts or sweatshirts, and then most designs that are either like on the lighter or darker side will go with either of those. So then you just upload it to that template that you have already made. And then I have one that has just like the top selling, maybe like 5 to 8 top selling colors that would like go with most designs. And I just have that template and it usually just works out. And if it doesn't, like say one color doesn't look right, I just delete it. I'm like, upload it. And then when you get to the Etsy listing, I'm like, oh, it doesn't look good. Delete it. It's not that hard, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people overthink it.
I think that's what a lot of print on demand is overthinking for sure. And, that's normal. So I think you've given some good tips on, what it took you to quit your job. So it's like 100 listings a month, you'd say,
Mhm.
reusing design trends in lots of different niches. So it's like find a trending design style and reuse it in every niche that you can. It's kind of,
Mhm.
say that kind of summarizes your design strategy.
Yeah, it takes away the like guessing what you need to be making. It's like I already know. I'm like, okay, this is the next holiday. This is the next trend. This is the list that I'm working off of. Boom, boom, boom. You know, once you get that process, it makes it so much easier. It is hard in the beginning though, because like you're trying to find what niches work best for you. But once you start to see some sales in a certain niche, just double down on it. Do what we're saying and yeah, you'll find the ones that work best for you. The ones that work best for me may not be the ones that work best for someone else, which is the cool thing because we all have our little areas. So that's why there's just so much room on Etsy because everybody's finding their successful niches. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other last minute tips that you think you'd give someone if they want to be able to quit their job like you did?
I guess I already said it, but my main one is find someone who is successful at what you want to do and follow them. That's all I did. Simple as that. Obviously, you have to put in the work, but it it's really that simple. And then it's mindset too. I mean, I listen to a lot of like inspirational videos. I learned a lot. I just put in the work, really. I don't know.
No, I think that's great. I think it really does come down to just implementing what you're learning. And if you spend all your time researching, but you don't actually put that research to work, then the research is
Mhm.
a waste of your time, right? So it's like researching just the right amount of time and then actually taking action is the most important thing. And so I think you've done a really great job. I'm so excited for you, and I can't wait to hear how 2025 it goes in your store.
Yeah.
So congrats again on being able to your job. And thank you so much for stopping by again to share your story.
Thank you. Yeah, and thank you for everything. And I, again, highly recommend her course because that's how I've become where I'm at right now. Like, I just followed what Cassie said, I just put in the work. So, yeah.
All right. Well, I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
All right, bye.